Hello. This is a story about how I went from this to all of this. Dramatic reveal, right? Hello, Mixtresses and Mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress Video. So, doing a video on how I am on currently day 7. In fact, I want to just completely put this away because I don't even want to look at it. I am on day 7, as I speak, of using a dumb phone. So this is the one that I chose. It is called a Sunbeam Bluebird. It's a lovely photo that I took with the camera on the phone as my home screen. Yeah. It's a flip phone. And, you know, just, I want to chronicle my adventures with a dumb phone. I want to talk about why I chose to switch to a dumb phone. And talk about how it's going. So I'm a week in at this point. I'm sure I will make a video probably like a month down the road, 3 months, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes from here, but I'm choosing to begin this series of adventures with a dumb phone, or whatever I choose to call it, or if I even choose to call it anything. I'm sure I'll make a playlist, at least, on the channel, so that if you're finding this in the future, you will be able to watch them all in the same playlist. But this is me 1 week in to dumb phone life. So I guess this is going to be, like, obviously you can see how long this video is. It's going to be just a chatty video of me talking about my experiences in the first week and what made me decide to do this. Obviously, like, or maybe not obviously. Okay, I should start with a disclaimer that the way that I talk, if for some reason this is the first video that you're seeing of mine, you should know that the way that I phrase things and the way that I talk, generally I tend to speak in a lot of absolutes. I tend to sound like I'm proselytizing for whatever thing that I'm currently super into. And I just want to remind you guys that I in no way think that the way that I do things is the best and the only way, even if it sometimes sounds like that with the phrasing that I choose to use. Like, I try to control for that, but sometimes I don't do a great job at it. So just so you know, like, please remember when you're watching this video, even though I'm so excited about dumb phone life being the thing for me, and I have a lot of critiques of our culture, the way that it's going right now. I'm not trying to tell anyone else what to do, is the point. I'm not trying to tell anyone else what to do. Please remember that. Okay, let's go. So why did I choose to get a dumb phone? I have been thinking about this for probably 5 years or so. I have had some version of a smartphone, usually iPhones, although I did have one Android phone in the mix, which actually, looking back, it was my favorite smartphone of all of them. It was a Samsung S9. I really loved that phone. It was purple. The fingerprint sensor was on the back. It had the ability to system-wide, because Android lets you do this, right? System-wide, I could have my favorite font, which is Handle Gothic. Maybe not my favorite font ever, but it was my favorite font for that phone, at least. Anyway, not the point. I have had smartphones for 14 years. I believe my first iPhone, it was an iPhone 3GS, and I believe I got it in 2010. I think. I'm pretty sure. So I've had smartphones for 14 years. And God, how do I even talk about, like, because people have been asking me, why did you do this in my real life? And I don't really know how to articulate that. Because it just, you know, it just feels so natural to me that I would want that. I felt like I was addicted to my smartphone. I was constantly reaching for it in my back pocket. I always had it on me. I was constantly reaching for it. I was constantly checking for things, even though, like, checking, lots of checking behavior, checking for notifications, checking for updates on whatever, checking my bank balance, checking, you know, my period app widget or whatever. You know, like, there was just so many things to, I mean, essentially, and I might, just so you know, I might refer to a smartphone as slab of glass. That's how I've been thinking of it in my head, that slab of glass. So that slab of glass that does everything was commanding a lot of my attention. I don't know, like, exactly what my screen time was before I switched off the smartphone life, but I think it was somewhere around 3-4 hours a day. And I don't like that. I don't like that as being my life. I don't want that for me. I didn't like, I mean, and they're designed that way. They're designed to hold our attention. And what I'm discovering, I guess this is kind of getting ahead, so let's stay in the realm of, like, why did I choose to do this? Because I felt that smartphone addiction is the next addiction that I have to tackle. And it turned out, like, I didn't, like, go into this year thinking I'm going to tackle all my addictions this year, but it seems like that's how it's going. I'm in a hanged man year, for those of y'all that are into tarot, although I suspect that this video might attract other people that aren't already into my channel, so just for those of y'all that don't know me, hi, my name is Mixtress Ray, and I'm obsessed with mixes, as in mixed tapes. I have a radio show, a weekly radio show, details below. I also am very into tarot, and most of my subscribers on YouTube are here because of my tarot content. However, the channel's named after me because I talk about whatever the fuck I want. Okay, here we go. So, in my hanged man year, I have been tackling my addiction to the internet specifically. I went into it trying to tackle my addiction to internet shopping, which I have been making significant progress. I accidentally decided to tackle my sugar addiction, and I say accidentally because I wasn't planning to do that this year, but that is something else that ended up happening in January, in fact, is when I started cutting back on sugar, and I am pleased to report that I am doing very well with that, and I feel healthier than I have since I was maybe in my 20s right now, and I'm 41 years old now. So that ended up happening, and this just felt like the natural next step to tackle my smartphone addiction. And I can already see that what will be next after this even is just internet addiction in general. But for now, I have a rule for myself that I have to go 28 days without a smartphone, which I will show you how I'm keeping track of that in this gorgeous little purse notebook that is small enough that it fits in, it's like a 4x6 notebook. It's small enough that it fits in my back pocket most of the time. Like, some of my back pockets are too small for this. So my next purse notebook will I'll be looking for like a 3x5 or something, but this is how I'm keeping track, giving myself a gold star for every day. My only rule right now is to be without the smartphone for 28 days, but I'm not making any other restrictions on myself as far as how much I can use the internet beyond that, which most of my internet usage right now is through this thing on the bottom, which is just a Chromebook. It was just something I bought earlier this year to replace an iPad that I had. And I just looked for something cheap that was basically like a souped up tablet / budget laptop. So anything that I did have on my smartphone before, like apps or whatever, I just installed onto my laptop. So it's not like I'm not on the internet, you know, like it's not a huge change. Like essentially I went from carrying the internet in my pocket to not. It's a little bit clunkier to access things on this budget laptop than it, I mean, it's actually, yeah, it's a little bit more of a barrier to entry. You know, like this laptop is small enough, I think the screen is like 11 inches or something, maybe 12. I actually don't know for sure, but it's small. It's small enough, this laptop, that I can carry it around the house with me. You know, if I'm catching up on my WhatsApp messages with my friends, which is most of what I use the laptop for at this stage. So it's small enough that I can do that, but it is still a little bit clunky to do. More so than the slab of glass, right? So yeah, I felt that I was genuinely addicted. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. Like I'm always kind of scattered, but right now I'm even more scattered. It is a trip, guys, to go from smartphone life to dumb phone life. It is a trip. I, so far, am really, really enjoying it. Like a lot. Like I'm giddy how much I'm enjoying this. I actually, okay, so some things that I wanted to, like, so, okay, the reason why let's discuss the items that you see on the screen. Basically, my smartphone has been replaced by all of these different things, which is the laptop on the bottom, the notebook that I've been keeping this notebook, like, on my person more often than the phone. Like, this has just been living in my back pocket so that every time and a pen, obviously, every time I think of something that I would normally be looking up on my phone, or like a note that I'd be taking down on my phone, or like things that I would normally be using a smartphone for, I have been jotting down in this notebook. So like later when I have access to the internet, I'm going to look this up, I'm going to do this. And I'm having a lot of those thoughts right now. I assume that will sort of subside, like the kind of fragmented thoughts of like, I need to look this up, I need to look this up, I need to fix this, I need to do this. I've been making a lot of notes. Like the two things that I've had on me more so than a phone in this first week are my iPod and this notebook. I should have brought my headphones so you could see, because obviously the headphones are a part of the whole thing because I'm listening to my iPod, right? But that's okay, I didn't get it out. Didn't get them out, and they're downstairs. So yeah, that's the other thing here, is that I'm listening to my iPod more and more. I am using, you can kind of see the reflection of it right now, I am using an old, what is the brand? Canon. It's a Canon camcorder. I'm using that right now to record this video, whereas before I used my smartphone most of the time. Obviously, like, this is the book that I'm reading this summer. I did not mean to rip her face off. There was like it was already ripped off when I got it from thrift books, or else there was a price sticker, and when I peeled it off, yeah. I'm usually good at peeling off price stickers, by the way. But that one was not happening without. So Her face ended up getting taken off, so I just put a little sticker on there. But this is the book that I've been reading this summer. It is a chonker, but anyway, so I'm taking a book with me more often these days, so that's what you're seeing here. Instead of having a smartphone in my back pocket and being the only thing I have, I'm not taking the laptop with me. Like, the things I'm taking with me are the notebook, the dumb phone, the iPod, and maybe a book. Although I haven't taken this with me very many times because it's very heavy. So I have to like feel like, oh, I'm really going to be in a situation where I'm going to want to pull this out and read it. Most of the time it's just the iPod, the dumb phone, and the notebook. But anyway, so some of the things that, like, I've been journaling about, like, maybe getting a dumb phone for a long time now. And some of the things that I thought I would really miss, I wanted to talk about those just in this first week, like my reflections on my first week with a dumb phone. That's what this whole video is. Jesus. I feel like the dust is being blown out of my brain. And it feels really good, but it's also, I don't like the aesthetic of these two blue things next to each other, so I'm going to move this. Okay. What was I talking about? I feel like the dust is being blown out of my brain, but also it's almost like when the dust blows away, there's not much left. It's like I don't really have, it's like I have all the thoughts but no thoughts. And I think it's just more evident right now how my brain has been working in smartphone mode, which is just constantly distracted, no real concrete thoughts of my own. I mean, that's another big thing that I should have mentioned in the why am I doing this category, which is I don't want algorithms to command my attention. I don't want algorithms to be the way that I think. I don't want to be dependent upon devices that are created by people that just want my money and constant attention. I felt like I was codependent on my smartphone. Like, I don't know about you guys, but the way that I operated was like, my phone was always within arm's reach. Almost always. I had, several years ago, I started charging my phone in a separate room so that I would not be able to just reach over to my nightstand and grab my phone, which I would highly recommend to anyone that feels like if you wake up in the middle of the night and you start scrolling through your phone, I just think that's bad. That's bad for your sleep. It just is. It just is. So, and everybody's like, but the alarm clock. Yeah, well, buy a $5 or $10 alarm clock at Walmart next time you're buying groceries. Like, you don't need a phone for your alarm clock. You really don't. Okay. So, things that I thought that I would miss. Spotify. It turns out, like, so far, I am not missing Spotify at all. With my iPod, I have, and I think you can actually see this on the screen if it's focusing. I think it is. See that number 17 of 10,209. That's how many songs I have in my. So I'm lucky I was already starting with, I'm still a person that buys music. Not all the time, like usually the last few years, the trend has been that at the end of the year, I go through my Spotify, like my hearted songs on Spotify. I go through it and I decide what I don't own yet that I have been listening to in the last year, and then I buy those things. But it doesn't end up being that much stuff, like maybe 2 or 3 albums worth that I add to my iTunes library. So I haven't been buying music as often as I would like in the last maybe 5+ years. But I am starting with a pretty robust music collection. So some of y'all don't even own any of your own music, so it would be a more difficult transition in that sense. But there are dumb phones that have Spotify. There are dumb phones that have WhatsApp. I just chose one. I guess I should go over the features that this phone has. It does have a hotspot. It has text and phone calls, obviously. It does have a camera. It's very, very terrible. I should show you some examples of photos in this thing. I guess I can show you how I get to that as well. So let's find the gallery and camera pictures. Dun, 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 dun. So here's an example of a photo that I took during full daylight. It's not bad. I don't know if my video camera is properly representing the colors. I don't think it is, but it's not bad. Here is a low light photo of a troll doll my mom gave me. Okay, here's like the first picture I took with the camera. It was nighttime, and this is my black cat. It's not a great photo. So this phone has messaging, it has photos, it has, okay, so the messaging, let's just a little aside with the messaging, it's actually more robust than I knew when I bought it. Like, I can send and receive picture messages, emojis, and even GIFs. The thing about GIFs, though, is that, oh, my SD card only has 30 minutes left on it. Okay, good to know, good to know. The thing about GIFs, though, is I can't find new GIFs with this phone because it doesn't have access to the internet. But I can, if someone sends me a GIF, I can save it into my photo gallery and then I can access it to send it to someone else. So basically I've just been like, my top 20 GIFs, as soon as I think of them, I will just like text my Michael and be like, send me this one, so that I have a little robust, a small GIF library that I can use. So I will be using the same 15 or 20 GIFs all the time, but I'm fine with that because I was doing that anyway, right? So the messaging, and I can actually send and receive voice messages as well. There's this little button on the back that when you hold it down while you're in the messaging app, you can record little voice messages. This is the microphone though. Do you see this tiny little, that's gotta be the microphone. I will say the voice quality as far as like sending and receiving voice messages, it's not very good. You can also, this has voice memos on it as well. What else? It has weather. So, and I really actually like how simple the weather is. It's just very, you know, very no nonsense, old school weather channel. It does have a radar. I don't think there's anything on it right now because it's a sunny day. So it has weather. Mine also has maps on it. And there was the ability you could get like an SD card preloaded with all the map data on it. From Sunbeam's website, and I went ahead and did that because it has the capacity for a 32 gigabyte micro SD card. I think that's the highest that you can get with this phone, which, you know, you're not going to need a shit ton of storage on this thing, really. Like, what are you going to need that for? What are you using it for? It also has music, which is great. Let's see. So it's organized by either, we've got this little album icon, you've got, or actually no, that's an artist icon, sorry. You've got the album icon, so you can go through your albums. And I just basically loaded on here my, like, you know, top 25 albums, something like that, just so I'd have a backup. If I didn't have my iPod on me, I could still listen to music. It does also have a touch screen. I don't use it much, but these are all the songs. And if you click on the menu inside any app, I guess, you can see what you could do. So there is a shuffle feature, there's a play all, you can add songs. You do have to, any playlists, you have to manually create from the phone. And that is an important bit of information for me because I'm the Mixtress. I like mixes. I actually have not put any mixes on this phone yet. But let's just do a little... Oh my god, I can't actually do that though, can I? Because I'll get a copyright strike. The speaker on this thing is this thing on the back. It's not good. It's not good. But maybe if I like mute it, because I was just trying to show you what it looks like when you're playing a song. So let's go back to the songs, select a song, and then we'll go back to the now playing so you can see, oh, this one doesn't have artwork, but you get the idea. It's just, this is what it looks like. And I did want to show this because in all of the reviews that I saw of this phone, no one was showing what it looked like when you were playing music, what features you have when you're playing music. Shuffle all songs right there, scan directory, play all songs, add songs, play. So it's, you know, it's very minimal what you can do as far as music, but the phone does have a beautiful headphone jack and it's USB-C. It comes with a dock as well, which is very cute. Let's see, what other features are on this phone that I'm not thinking of? It does have visual voicemail. I haven't gotten it set up yet, though, so I have to, like, go to my carrier to do that. Contacts. It was a little confusing to set up the contacts, but I eventually figured it out. No problem. You've got, obviously, clock and alarm features. You've got a calendar. Which I can show you what that looks like. Like this is, and it was easy to import United States holidays. I decided to do that. But here's an example of what the daily view looks like. And I mean, it's a little clunky adding events to this thing, because you have to do it all on board the device, but you know, it's one of those things like you get used to it very quickly, right? So that's the calendar. You've got a calculator, there's notes, there's a flashlight, which is accessible through pushing the volume up button when you're just on the regular home screen. Gallery, sound recorder, so you can do voice memos and stuff. Music, obviously. You got navigation, weather, Waze, so it's just another version. Of a navigation app. I've been using that more. And you don't have to, just bonus, you don't have to sign in to anything. So like I didn't have to create an account with Waze or anything like that, but it's just, the UI is just cuter than the navigation that's on board this device. You can back up, you got settings, wallpaper, keyboard functions, user manual. The button on the back can also be used as sort of an SOS. I don't have it set up to do that, but yeah, so I mean, that's it really. One thing that I've really enjoyed about this device is that almost everything is accessible with buttons. You know, like you can map these directional buttons to be whatever you want. So I've got the up being the calendar, I've got the down for music, the forward is maps, and the backward is weather. That's just how I have it mapped. Yeah, basically just like, and you set it to vibrate mode by just doing that. Ringer set to normal because I just had it on vibrate because I turned it all the way down. One thing that people have been asking me is like, oh my god, T9 texting. You have to go back to T9 texting, which if you don't know what that means, T9 texting is like texting with buttons. Like using, like if you wanted to get to the K, you'd push this button twice. T9 texting has gotten better since I used it 14 years ago. Like, and it took me no time to get used to it again. This phone also has an incredible voice to text feature. If you're in the messaging app, which I don't want to show you because it's going to get personal if I show you my messaging app, but you just hit this button to get to your messages, and then you hold it down while you're in the messages to do voice to text, and it works really well. Like, incredibly well. Better than the iPhone ever did. So when you're messaging, you can use T9, which actually, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but basically, like, if you wanted to, maybe I can pull up, like, just a new message or something to show you guys what I'm talking about. New conversation to, I don't know. Who am I sending a message to? Okay, here we go. Here's a generic, no last names, my friend Dan. If I wanted to message my friend Dan, like there's many different options. Like, okay, let's say I wanted to message him, what is, can you guys see what's happening here? Not really. So basically you just type like wherever the numbers are. So if I wanted to say what, W-H-A-T, and it shows up on the screen. Let's see, what's another? Moon, and it gives you suggestions. So moon, noon, mono, mommy, monopoly, like, so it's pretty easy. Like if it's already highlighted on the word that you want, you just hit the space and it puts it in there. So there's, let's say victims. What is moon victims? Anyway, I don't know how to describe things, but you can see like it actually just took me like 24 hours or so to get used to texting like this. But you also have the voice to text, so let me show you how that works. Let me show you how the voice to text works. Do you see how it just got it? And there are multiple languages that you can use with the voice to text as well, which you can set up in settings. It's defaulted to, I think if you push this button, it goes to Spanish, which of course I wasn't saying Spanish words, so it didn't actually detect it. But yeah, this button goes to Spanish automatically for voice to text. And then you can also, if you really wanted to, if you click in the cursor, it pulls up a keyboard. That's clunky to use, obviously. Sorry, I've got a cat hair stuck to my hand. That's kind of clunky to use because this screen is tiny, but you can do it. So there's many different options. You can do the T9 thing, which actually I really enjoy doing. I really enjoy using buttons to text again, guys. I really do. Or you can use the voice to text. Yeah, So what I'm saying is the features that this phone provides, I'm actually really enjoying using buttons again. I just never really liked touchscreen life. I just never really liked it that much. So, okay, let's go back to my list of things that I thought that I would miss. Spotify I'm not missing because Spotify is confusing. You know what I mean? It's, you go there. I liken it to the entire experience of using a smartphone to me. I thought about this the other day when I was journaling. It feels like you're going to a grocery store that's constantly rearranging things. That's what it feels like. And I'm not going to have that problem anymore. The way that I have this phone set up is going to stay that way unless I decide to change it. My iPod is going to stay exactly how I set it up unless I decide to change it. It's a beautiful thing. Spotify has become frustrating to use because, you go to the home page and everything is like suggestions of what they want you to listen to, which is mostly podcasts and audiobooks, because they want you to be listening for as long as possible. They don't want to suggest a song to you because then you'll be listening for 3 minutes and you might go away. So Spotify I'm not missing. I'm actually like having such a good time with my iPod. Really, truly, I'm having such a good time with my iPod. Like realizing what songs I don't own that I need to own. So I've been buying more music, which is obviously when you buy music, you are supporting the artists much more so than you would be by streaming things on Spotify, which artists get barely anything from Spotify streams. It's really gross. So that's a good thing. That's just an unexpected perk. The other thing that I really thought I would miss is WhatsApp, and I do, because I have gotten used to communicating with my internet friends on WhatsApp pretty much all day, every day. I'll just like think of something randomly that I want to share with a particular person via voice message or whatever, and I will, which I can't do now all day long. I can't do it all day long. I have to wait. I use my laptop usually like in the mornings and at night to sort of catch up on my WhatsApp correspondences, and I'm getting used to it quickly though. It's kind of nice to like have the day to think about, and I'll take notes in my little notebook too of like, tell Julie this, or, tell Saoirse that, or I need to ask Dolores this. I have for sure like gotten used to interacting with people that way already. So I miss WhatsApp being on the go, but at the same time, I think it's better for me to like not necessarily need to share my thoughts at all times. And I'm finding that I am texting people in my real life more often now, people that I could actually make plans with in person because I live near them. I'm finding that I'm texting people in my real life more often because when I have one of those random thoughts that I want to share with someone, I can either just wait till later to share it with an internet friend via WhatsApp, or I can share it with someone right now that I, can text more easily. And so that's an unexpected benefit. I've actually been walking up to people more too when I'm out in the world, like if I'm at work, instead of like, I don't know, there's just been times that I've been, because I'm not overstimulated all the time, I've been more likely to just walk up to someone and be like, hey, what's going on? And start a conversation, which is nice. YouTube, I thought I would miss YouTube because I was spending a lot of time on my smartphone when I was at work, like listening to YouTube videos while I was at work. I don't miss YouTube at all. In fact, I've almost gone to 0 YouTube in this last week because the only way I access it now is through the laptop or like, on my TV or something. I guess, if I wanted to. But I haven't been. I just haven't been. So I don't know. I don't know if my relationship to YouTube now is just going to be as a creator. I guess we'll see. But I don't miss YouTube. The other thing that I thought I would miss is having a shared grocery list, because Michael and I had, you know, like a reminders thing set up through our iPhones where we could add things to the grocery list. You know, he never really used it that consistently anyway, and I just got like one of those like long skinny notepads with the magnet on the back to put on my fridge. And so we just keep track of what we need on that, and I'll tear that piece of paper off and go to the store. Whereas Michael, he was always like, you know, he would just memorize what we need and then he would go to the store and get it. And half the time he'd forget to mark it off the list that we had on our phones anyway. So far that's completely fine. If we're going to the grocery store, you know, we kind of have a discussion beforehand of like whichever one of us is going, we have a discussion like, okay, you should get this, 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 and this. So we've got a fucking paper grocery list now. It's fine. The camera. I actually really do miss the iPhone camera, because iPhone, that's the one thing that they do incredibly well, which is a camera. So it is possible that when this whole thing is over, I might, when my 28 days is up, I might turn my smartphone back on, reset it to like factory settings, and use it as a camera. But I actually don't want to do that because I feel like that will be a gateway into me getting sucked back into the smartphone world. And I don't want to get sucked into the smartphone world again. So, I don't know. That remains to be seen if I will. Most likely, I will end up investing in some kind of digital camera at some point, but I want to make sure I'm going to stick to the dumb phone life before I spend that kind of money. So far, I have not bought any of these devices specifically for, except the dumb phone, obviously. I bought that. But I don't want to, like, use this as an excuse to buy a bunch of things. Okay, so the thing that I want to end on is talking about single-use devices and fragmenting, yeah, because I went from, like I started this video, I went from the one slab of glass to all of this. And a lot of people would say, perhaps, I would imagine, they would say, why would you force yourself to carry all of these things when you can do all of that stuff in one device with a smartphone? Which is a legit question. But, and that was a question that I also had for myself. But so far, I actually prefer this. I do. I prefer going to a specific device for a specific reason. It is not, I mean, I guess I thought it might be more difficult. And as far as weight, yeah, like if I'm carrying all this shit in the backpack, it's going to be heavier than carrying just a smartphone, obviously. But besides that, there is no downside to that for me. I find it is a lot easier to remember why I picked up a device, because obviously if I'm picking up my iPod, I'm doing it because I'm going to choose some music to listen to, or an audiobook, or a podcast, or whatever. Obviously, that's the reason I'm picking up an iPod. If I'm picking up a book, I'm picking it up to read it. If I'm picking up my notebook, I'm picking it up to write something down. And eventually, like if I also have a digital camera that I take with me places, then I'll be picking that up to take a picture. I also have, I guess it would have made sense for me to have yet another device out here. Which this is one that I've had for like, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so. This is what I use to record my podcasts and, yeah, any of my podcast related things, I use this. So I will take that with me for that reason. I think, okay, here's my theory. Because I do view myself as kind of an animist, which if you don't know what that term means, it basically means that you consider there to be a soul in objects. And I don't mean that literally, but I like to use objects for the functions that they are here for. I like to respect devices for what they do. And I think that I am enjoying using my devices so much more now. Like, my love for my little iPod is, yeah, I enjoy using it. I really enjoy using it. And I feel the same way about my new dumb phone. It's like, I feel like I can trust it. And these are terms that I do use, like, in regards to devices. I feel like I can trust this. I feel like this isn't trying to usurp my attention at all times. In fact, one thing I really like about it is when I get a text message, this little envelope lights up green. If I have a missed call, this little receiver lights up blue. And that's it. Like, I can see at a glance from across the room if I have a missed notification. All other notifications too, there really aren't that many things that this phone will notify me about, but like if I have a calendar alert or something like that, it's going to show up also just lighting up this little green envelope. So I can see from across the room if this phone needs my attention, but most of the time it doesn't. I have noticed I'm doing a lot of checking. I'm picking this thing up often to open it up and look at it, and it's a problem. But I'm assuming that that will eventually dissipate. That particular thing will eventually, I'll stop doing that, I'm assuming. But yeah, it's, oh man, I feel so fragmented. Like I feel like I have so many things to say to you guys, but I'm so excited about, like, it's been nothing but good vibes for the last week. The only thing that has been a disappointment with the dumb phone is the camera. That's it. And so there have been several times that I've itched to take a picture and I just didn't do it because I knew that I couldn't get a good enough picture with this. But it's also, you know, you have to be a little creative to get a good picture from this. And you can get a good picture from it. But it's not just point and shoot. Although that is the only functionality it has. Like, you can't even focus with this thing. The camera, like, all you can do is turn the flash on and off before you take the picture. That is it. So you have to be a good photographer to get good pictures out of this thing. So I think it's going to be fun. It has been an adventure in problem solving and creativity to use this collection of things instead of just one slab of glass. I am really happy with the results so far. I feel like I'm reclaiming my brain. My mind feels like it's, reclaiming my brain. I feel like I'm getting my own thoughts back because I'm not constantly filling my head with other people's thoughts and opinions all day long. Because what I was doing with my smartphone before, like on a random work day or whatever, is I was constantly searching for new YouTube videos to listen to, new podcasts to listen to, new audiobooks to listen to, like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it was just like all day long, other people's thoughts in my head. Whereas the last week, I've been mostly listening to music on my iPod. I've listened to more music in the last week than I probably have in the last month. That's a bit of an exaggeration, because I do still listen to a lot of music. I am a Mixtress. I am the Mixtress. But I feel, I don't know, right now, this feels like the best change I have made for myself. And I've done some good things for myself, even just in the last year. Like, severely reducing my sugar intake, severely reducing my internet shopping, etc. But giving up the smartphone, I mean, I can't believe I didn't do it before now. And I doubt I will ever want to go back. I just feel like it's not for me, the smartphone life. It never really was. And I'm much happier. I will gladly accept keeping track of more devices and more things and switching to a bigger backpack so that I can carry all the things for the amount of peace that I've already gained through not having a smartphone. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, obviously. How am I going to feel a month in? How am I going to feel 6 months in? We shall find out. But I have to shut up because my SD card is almost out of space. I have less than a minute before it shuts me down. So I will stop here. Thank you guys so much for watching.